The 2022 college football season is approaching its end. We are 2 weeks away from the NCAA playoffs, where we are sure to see some future NFL prospects showcase their skills. But for today's feature player, not only did his team not even come close to making the playoffs, Florida quarterback Anthony Richardson skipped the Gators bowl game against Oregon State to prepare for the NFL draft. Today, we're going to review the redshirt sophomore's 2022 season, and I'll show you some film of what makes Richardson a very intriguing player to evaluate for this upcoming spring. So let's start with Anthony Richardson's 2022 stats. In 12 starts, he led the Gators to a 6-6 record, completing 178 passes on 327 attempts for just under 54% completion percentage. This is obviously not ideal, it's not great. He ranks 102 out of 108 possible eligible candidates in completion percentage this year. Richardson went out and threw for just over 2,500 yards, 17 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, while rushing for just over 600 yards and 9 touchdowns on the ground. I mentioned at the start of the video that Richardson is a very interesting prospect. His stats aren't great. His team went 6-6, which is bad for a Florida team. But with all that being said, Richardson is still very talented. But while being talented, the kid has some flaws. So let's start off by letting me show you why he is a potential first-round pick. When analysts talk about Anthony Richardson, a common phrase you will hear is that he has all the physical tools. He's very athletic, and he has an arm that pops off the screen. He can make all the throws. When I personally hear that a guy has all the tools, especially at the quarterback position, I immediately think that's a code word for he's raw. One thing that stood out to me about Anthony Richardson is that he is inconsistent. He has some great plays, but then he comes right back and has some bad plays. Let me show you exactly what I mean. This play against Tennessee is really interesting because I think it should be the ender to my video. It's one of the plays that really breaks down and shows all the assets that he brings to the table. He is really good in the pocket at times where he feels the pressure from coming from both sides. He steps up, he side shuffles, he's going to take off, but then last second, he has a big enough arm to just throw it off platform, down the field, get the ball to his receiver, and let his receiver make a play. That's an awesome play, right? That should be an ender. But I needed to show you that because while he's great in the pocket, here we move on to the next one, and he escapes too early. He had a completely clean pocket. Sure, he's athletic enough to bust out of it. So that just shows you kind of the play-by-play with Anthony Richardson to where it's high and it's low. Sometimes he stays in the pocket against Tennessee and he delivers a really strong throw. And here, he kind of relies on his athleticism, bails out of the pocket too early, runs into the D end, where in the NFL, that's a sack. But here he breaks it off and gets a first down. The one thing I look for in quarterbacks, especially, athletic quarterbacks, is how do they stay in the pocket? And here's just another good example where Richardson's going to come off the shotgun snap, he's going to pump fake, and look how he just kind of keeps his feet moving. Not panicked, not shuffling like he's looking to scramble, but just a simple, compact shuffle, so he can keep his base under him and deliver a throw downfield. And here, that's an awesome throw. He sits in the pocket. He waits. He doesn't get, panicked. The clock isn't ticking on him. He feels comfortable in the pocket and delivers a nice touch pass over the shoulder. Great throw. I love the play overall. So I showed you a play earlier against Tennessee where I thought he was really impressive climbing the pocket. And here again, he does a good job. But the thing that gets him from time to time, the inconsistency part of this whole scouting process is look at the technique he tried throwing with, right? That's a guy with a big arm who goes, I can throw off platform. I make these throws all the time. But you don't, right? You don't make the throws. That's why you complete 54% of your passes and not 64%. It's because you throw off platform from time to time, which causes you to airmail some throws. And let me show you one more good play against Tennessee where I'm really impressed with his pocket mobility. Here, he drops back, shuffles. He never panics and looks to just run immediately. That's the one thing I'm most impressed by Anthony Richardson about is for a guy that has the big arm and can throw off platform and make a lot of throws, he does a really good job. Sure, from time to time it's inconsistent, but when he makes the throws, when he does get his feet under him, look how strong of a dart that is to the outside. That's a great play. This play against Kentucky is just going to show how big Richardson's arm actually is. Number 3 is going to come on a fly motion across. Richardson's going to roll out and hit him on the wheel route, right on the sideline, in between two defenders. and that's just pure arm talent. On the run, just sticks this between two defenders. So here, once again, it's inconsistency. Sometimes when he's in the pocket and he keeps his feet underneath him and has a good platform to throw from, he throws darts, he throws lasers everywhere accurately. But here, you'll see, he misses the wheel route high, he airmails it to his running back. And why does he do it? There's pressure coming off of both edges. He looks left at the pressure, looks right, sees that pressure's coming, and he doesn't set his feet. He starts kind of rolling out to the right, throws off balance, and just tries to wing it in there with his arm. It's not a hard throw, but with him being off balance, he just airmails it. And this is a concept that you see Richardson run a lot. It's the play action to the left, roll back right with a pulling guard, or maybe not even a guard, just a pulling blocker who's going to get that edge defender, which allows Richardson to step back up into the pocket and look downfield for a crosser or someone down the sideline. And that's exactly what happens here. Comes off the play action, steps into the pocket, sets his foot in the ground, steps up, launches forward, decides, I don't like that crossing route because maybe he got spooked by the linebacker that bailed out into coverage there, and maybe he didn't want to risk it. So he throws it downfield because he has a huge arm and fits it in the tight window, back shoulder to his receiver. Not a lot of guys can make that throw. Richardson has the arm to make all these throws, and he makes it look easy at times. And here against Vanderbilt, I was really impressed by this throw too, because the one thing is Richardson shows touch. For as big as an arm as he has, right, there's a couple types of throws that he can make with touch. And a lot of quarterbacks that you'll see in college football, right, when they make this throw, where does the ball end up? It ends up at the back pylon or near the sideline. And that's because a lot of quarterbacks don't have Richardson's arm. You can still throw a touch pass with some zip on it. I know that sounds kind of contradictory, but there's a way to throw it with some emphasis and have touch on the ball. A lot of quarterbacks wait too long to make this throw and don't have a big enough arm, so they float it to the back of the end zone. Richardson has the ability to really put enough air on the ball for it to be touch and not just an absolute laser in there, but still have enough power to get it there in a timely manner. Speaking of touch, here's just another great throw. It's kind of a similar concept I talked about earlier where he does the handoff to the left, the play action to the left, and then he stays in the pocket. And that's just a touch throw. That's awesome, right? Against Tennessee. You have to make big plays. And I thought this was a great game where he really battled. He bounced back with a really, powerhouse team. And he stayed, kept his team in the game, making big plays like this. Once again, when he has a good pocket and he, keeps his platform stable and just his feet under him, he can make throws like this easily. And here, I'll round out the touch pass trilogy of plays with, a nice play action. He stays in the pocket and you see it again. He shuffles and he keeps his feet underneath him. And look at the touch pass. Sure, Henderson was pretty open. I'm not going to lie about that. He was pretty much wide open. But the fact that he is able to keep his feet under him, make a nice touch pass over the top, and listen, you've seen it like I do. When guys have big arms, they try to laser this ball in and get it to the receiver as soon as possible. Richardson has good timing, gets the ball out quick, and it's a beautiful throw over the top. Now I want to show you some deep passes from Anthony Richardson, which I thought was another strong suit of his. I didn't see in his film a lot of underthrows, overthrows, bad throws on deep routes. A lot of them ended up in completions here against Tennessee. His receiver just beats the defender one-on-one, beats him off the line, and sure, Richardson does underthrow it a tad, but look, 4th and 2, you need to make a throw. He made it. Here's another great pass down the sideline. 4th quarter, you need to make a big play. You're down 4 to South Florida, which might be the big issue here that you're losing to South Florida, but regardless, he makes a great throw here. It's a little inside, but I love the high point. I love that he throws it up high for number 4 to just outmuscle the defender, jump up, and make an athletic play. Here against Tennessee, I don't love the footwork. I don't love that he's going to fade on this throw, but it just shows you how big his arm is. The pressure's coming. He's on his 40-yard line, and he lobs it down to the 15. There's really not a lot of college quarterbacks. I don't even know if there's NFL quarterbacks that can make this throw. And the fact that Anthony Richardson can do it in a big, high-leverage situation, look at the throw. Fading from the 40 down to the 15, that's awesome. Richardson's go-to is this play-action concept where he's going to fake the handoff to the left to his running back. An offensive lineman's going to pull from the left side over to the right and get that edge defender, and that's just going to allow Richardson to get a clean pocket to step up and uncork this post route. Bomb, perfect throw, right in stride for the receiver, a long touchdown. Shows off his arm, what he can do with a clean pocket. It's awesome. And I just want to show you two more deep balls to where I go, man, Richardson has a big arm, and he knows how to lead a receiver to where it's not ever really an underthrow, it's just in stride. Here, I mean, number one does have a pretty big gap between him and the defender, but still, in stride, never has to come back for the ball. And here's another deep ball where the receiver is pretty open, but Richardson has to take a big shot and delivers a perfect throw right down the middle of the field for a touchdown. Now let's talk about Richardson's other physical tool, his athletic ability. Here, he's going to do the play action, he's going to roll out to the sideline, make one defender miss in the backfield, cuts, makes another defender miss with a side juke, cuts it back to the middle of the field, and then scrambles for 40 yards down the field and while running out of bounds. And here's another huge play from Richardson on the ground. He's going to come off the play action, he's going to stand in the pocket and climb up like I like and look downfield. He doesn't immediately take off, but then he decides to. Bounces it outside towards the sideline, and takes off, and he has some speed and giddy up, makes a defender miss, and gallops into the end zone for a long touchdown. And if you check the replay here, I mean, look, I love the fact that he comes off the play action, and he doesn't just look to run. He steps up, looking downfield, looking, and then decides to take off. That's what makes me the happiest about this entire play, is that even though he has the ability to take off down the field, he looks for receivers. He looks for people open before he decides to run. This play does a good job of showing what he could do on the read option, right? Gets the read option, makes number 11 look silly, the safety coming down, freezes him in the hole because, look, I mean, he has a little wiggle to him. Now, I'm not trying to sell him as this completely dynamic rusher, because he's not. He's not Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Justin Fields. He's not one of those guys. He's more in the realm of a Deshaun Watson, maybe pre-broken ankle Dak Prescott. These guys that are going to rush for 400 to 600 yards and can be valuable around the red zone. Because look, when you're around the end zone and your quarterback can be that extra runner, can really be a value to your goal line offense. So to wrap the video up, a minor concern I have with Richardson is the lack of non-play action success. I felt like he's at his best when he's coming off a play action with a clean pocket in front of him. But when performing a simple drop back with routes like slants, curls, and out routes, they weren't really a common part of the game plan, and that's what dropped his completion percentage. So I would like to see him take the next step at the next level and be more comfortable taking simple dropbacks, hitting slants, curls, out routes, the basic routes you need to master, not just play action stuff down the field.